Okay, today this is Ripper, and today I am going to be showing you how to use the remote or Rcon, remote console or Rcon for Black Ops Mac, as well as the in-game console commands to manage your server. Do things like kick or ban people, change around the maps, change the name of your server, stuff like that. So there's a few different ways you can actually get the remote console. The first is directly from Aspire, which is on this post. I'm going to provide a link in the video description so you won't have to go and dig this out, but it is here. It's a direct link from Aspire. Otherwise, if you are using Steam, because say if you have the Mac App Store version. Nope, let me get all these windows out of here. If you're using the Mac App Store version, you may want to use the Aspire link. If you're using the Steam version, you can just go to Library Tools, and it's here, Black Ops Remote Console. I mean, I have it installed. You would have to right-click on it and install it normally if you don't have it installed yet. And that makes it basically a game, it's here in my little bar, Remote Console. Actually, you can download both, and then you can actually have two open at the same time, which is convenient for me because I have admin on 3 or 4 different servers, but occasionally it can get a little confusing. But for the most part, you'll just want the one. Either way, open up once you've downloaded the app, it's just a single app here. I've already, got my safe servers going on here, but for example, if your first time opening the application, labels whatever you want. Your host IP and port you would get from your game server's control panel. It shows you. Actually, it'll also show you on your server if you connect to it directly and you hold tab to look at the scoreboard in the bottom right of your screen. It would show the port and IP. You can get it there, but you also need your Rcon password, which will be in your activation email from game servers. Once your server is activated, it'll give you your Rcon password, a default one. Obviously, if you change it, it'll be that. So you just put in your IP, your port, your password. And I'm not doing it here because I already have it saved, but instead of just hitting connect, you want to do save to server list. So it shows up down here. These are the 4 servers I have my admin on. So that way every time you don't have to retype the info, you just open the app and double click on something. Let's see, for example, if there's anyone on 15th. And we can get rid of this. And there is, so this is handy. So you can see we have, when you first open the app, it shows whoever's on the server. By default, auto update is ticked on. I've ticked it off because I like to manually refresh in case there's someone in the list I want to catch if they left the game. But we can hit a quick refresh. We have Cataman on there, Linus, a few people I know. So if you want, say for example, I'm going to send Cataman a message. I just do message players. Hi, Cataman. This is Ripper. So this just sends it to him directly on his screen in the game, no one else. You can't message. It seems to thinks anyway. Well, it says players as if you can message more than one at a time, but it doesn't seem to let you. There is an all player message. That's a different tab. You can kick a player, who's either breaking your rules or being a jerk or whatever. You can kick everyone from the server at once, though it does ask you to confirm, so you don't have to worry about screwing that up. Ban player doesn't, it's a permanent ban. The only way to undo that is if you've watched my last video, go into your panel and do it there. Temp ban will ban somebody for 5 minutes, or whatever you set your server temp ban time to. 5 minutes is the default. I like to warn people if they are breaking the game rules or whatever. I'll kick them. If they come back and keep doing it, I'll temp ban them so they get more of the idea. And if they're really persistent or they're just total, jerks, I'll just permanent ban them to get rid of them. You're paying for the server, you should be allowed to, play with who you want. So this is the most basic window. This is really easy. I've given admin to, say, all the BAMF members, for example, on my server. And this is the most basic window you can use to just, kick people or temp ban or ban them as you need. We go over to playlists. Let's zoom in a bit here. The default playlist is always TDM, 18 players, and there's no exclusions. So you can go through all these playlists. On a ranked server, you can't control what the next map is exactly. I mean, technically you could through a whole lot of very tricky exclusion, but that's way too much busy work. Usually you just have to pretty much set it up and let it run. So these playlists means this is what what the next map load will be in terms of its game type. So right now it's running search and destroy, and if I wanted it to run, headquarters, I could click on it and do start selected playlist, but it wouldn't happen until the next map load. So I'm not going to do that. Also, I've noticed there's a problem when you're in the middle of a game and you start a new playlist. People have trouble joining or they can't join at all. It gives them weird errors like this playlist cannot be found or something. So it's really best to wait until the end of the match when you get your player scorecard and your experience and stuff. And then just tab out really quick because you have 15, 20 seconds. It's no problem. Tab out, then start the selected playlist. Then you'll load the next game type and you'll be fine. These exclusions, right now I'm excluding the DLC maps as I like them and I prefer to run them, but still so few people have the DLC, it's a problem, which is annoying. So you can have a full server and then load these and suddenly only have like 4 or 5 people. So I keep them off for the most part. Every now and then I turn them on. So how this works is this operates completely independently of the game type. This is just game type and map exclusion. So say I want to add one, you go down here to add. And say you don't want to play, CTF on array, you could add that exclusion. And then it shows up down here, and then you'd have to also hit apply exclusions. That's important. And again, these don't take effect till next map load. But say I don't want that one, it's already highlighted, I just hit the delete key and it goes away. And if I wanted to add all the DLCs, I just simply delete everything and then hit apply exclusions. I have this set to any game type. It's the most basic way to get rid of something. But say, for example, you wanted to create a Nuketown only server. You'd have to go in here and remove everything except for nuked as an exclusion. And, any game type except for nuked. Or set all the maps to, exclude any game type. Then you'd have a Nuketown only server, for example. It's a bit tedious to set up. It doesn't actually let you save it as a playlist or exclusion, which is annoying. You can do that in unranked, but not ranked. I can't think of anything else particularly here. The other thing is some of the names of the maps aren't what they actually are called. For example, Russian base is WMD. I think Duga is maybe, actually I forget exactly what that one is. But I think a mountain is like Summit, for example. They have code names, some of them. It's a little annoying. So I had to go online and look them up to actually figure out exactly which one was which. So this is pretty simple. Then we go over to settings. There's not really much to do here. You can, change the timeout time. I don't actually know what zombie time is. Reconnect limit, intermission time. This is the time between maps when the map ends. So you could actually change this to load quicker if you wanted, say to like 5 seconds. But I have to leave 15 because people like to look at their player card. They like to chat about the end of the round. So it's a good default time. You can go over to server. And, server name, you can change it here, but it's not that effective. I'll show you a much better way to do it. You can set a max ping, which is 250 at the moment. Minimum ping doesn't really make sense, but a max ping rate's handy. For example, you don't really want people over 250 ping or connecting to your server because they'll be really lagging teleporting everywhere, and once you get 1 or 2 of them on your server, it actually starts lagging out the server for everybody else. So you do need to monitor that. I allowed the 280 on Banff because we're on 15th, because some of the MCC members have 280 ping, and they're okay, but random people I don't know, I'll monitor as long as they're not lagging the game, they can stay, but if they are, I'll just kick them out. And here we go, temp ban time is 5 minutes, it's in seconds. And these don't actually seem to work in terms of exclusion. You have to go back here and exclude them here. I've tried turning them on here, but they still load the map, so I'm not really sure what's up with that. Some of these other settings, like allow spectators, allow team change on. Team change is a good thing to have. Spectators doesn't actually work on a ranked server. Oh, yeah. I have to blur out my Rcon password, just noticed that. Then we'll go over to messages. This is pretty fun. So we're on 15th. I'm actually going to start the message rotation. So I have a number of saved presets. And so at the moment, this is the message. Welcome to the 15th server. Duration means how long before the next message plays after this one's finished. So 15 seconds, 15 seconds. So basically when, say the game just starts, this will load, this will load, this will load, but then 4 minutes, it'll be 4 minutes until this plays again. And you can easily click on that and say you want to up it to 5 minutes. You just do that. Then you'd have to save it to make the change. So for example, you can create a new rotation, open, save, save as. So say open. I have a bunch in here. It's slightly annoying that the messages aren't saved on a per server basis. Rather, they're simply saved in your Rcon. So, I mean, somewhat convenient, I guess, but a little annoying. Sometimes I've accidentally end up running like the BAMF messages on 15th or the 15th ones on BAMF. But I also have these custom game type messages set up, for running sniper only, shotgun only, and so on. Actually, oops, I want to stop that. Because if you change this, it'll start playing these messages. So for example, I have, snipers only, no crushes. These are all the rules of, that custom game type. But let's say I want to do a new one, because when you first do this, it'll be blank. So you have a new rotation, you add a message, and you can just type in your message. This is a test. And you add, and you can just keep adding messages. Test number 2. But this one's only going to be 15 seconds. And, you can drag and drop them around to adjust their order and stuff like that. You would have to save this rotation or save as to actually make it saved up in that list so you can open it. Another thing you can do is down here you have the color codes, which is convenient. And the white text doesn't show up that well in the game. It's not that noticeable when you're playing. So if you'll notice, all the rotations... No, I don't want to save these. All of my rotations have colors. So number 1's red, number 2 is green. What's another one? I think the sniper one has a bunch of different colors. I did a test of all the colors. Black doesn't show well. White and gray don't show that well. Brown doesn't show well, and dark blue doesn't show well. The only thing that does show well is red, green, and yellow for the most part. Red and green are the most standout. Yellow, cyan, and magenta all show not bad as well. So I'd advise using a combination of those. Like I alternate, I have green, then I have yellow, then I have red, then I have green again, then I have cyan. So, just play around with it. We can also use these colors in chat. So here we have a quick message sent to the entire server. This is how you can send a message to everyone playing. Looks like a couple people have moved around. But we'll just send out a quick test message. Hi everyone, this is just a test. Nothing to worry about. So they're going to be wondering why the console in the game is doing that, but that's okay. But that's how you message the entire server. Usually I use this to warn people because having the console say it is sometimes better than a player saying it. But that's pretty simple. Let's switch this rotation back to the 15th one and start the rotation. Once you quit the app, the rotation will stop. So if you're not in the game, I often just open this app and see if people are playing, then I'll run the server rules. Because also often there's people in Mumble playing on one of these servers and they'll tell me if somebody's breaking them so I can, admin as necessary. Now we get to the fun area, the console. So this has a handy way of showing everyone on the list who's playing. I'll give you the map name. So right now they're playing Array, for example. Actually, no, wait. They're playing Berlin Wall. And you can see what it's doing. It shows everything that's going on. So here you have my message from earlier. Hi, Cantaman. This is an admin command. Set admin dvar playlist exclude, and we're excluding all the DLC maps, for example. And these are the server messages. But anyway, what's interesting here is, say you want a quick listing of everyone, you can just hit team status and you'll get everyone's info. And the only really useful thing this is for is to grab people's IPs or to grab their GUID, Global User ID or something, I think. And you can use either of these things to actually identify or ban people, which is handy. because if you either look at some advanced commands or your game server's panel control list, you can actually ban people by GUID, which is handy if you need that. For example, I've been told by Aspire that they actually can't identify Mac App Store players for whatever reason, but you can on Steam. But you can identify Mac App Store players by the GUID, which is handy. Anyway, the most basic name, I'm going to go and load my server because I don't want to muck around with the 15th one right now. Oh, there's a bunch of people on my server too. Oh, no, there isn't. There's nobody here. Oops. Stop the message rotation. So, for example, the most commonly used command I do here, even though you can do this in game, though it's slightly more complicated. I'm pretty sure right now my server's simply bamf search and destroy. But say I want to rename the server because I explained in my last video, when you first load it, it'll be named, a default name. But I use this to change around the name based on the game type I'm running. Search and destroy only, team tactical, a custom game type like sniper only, shotgun only. So we come in here and it's really easy. You do sv underscore hostname and then whatever you want. I like to use the colors. I most often use green. So this is my default, hostname bamf, and then, it could be TT sniper only. Then I just hit enter and it would change it. Or, I can just do search and destroy, 24/7, whatever you want to do. Then you just hit enter and it will immediately change the name on the server. But as I mentioned in the last video, it won't immediately update it in the browser list if you're in the game. If you do it, then load the game, it'll be changed. But it's an instant change if you're in the server. Like, can you hold tab to check the server name? You can do a few other things here. It's probably not that useful. Really, that's the only thing I use the console for. There are some more advanced commands I could get into. Actually, I'm going to get into when I show you the in-game console.